So chapter 4 is known as the Displaced Soul. And there are two types of displaced soul. One is the young souls which die young and they are not accepting the fact that they have left their physical body. So these kind of souls are left to remodel. Obviously, the guides and the other masters who are there in the spiritual world keep an eye on them, but they are not directly sent to the spiritual world. They are left on the earth plane for some time. But there is a second type of displaced souls which have a lot of negativity or have been in heinous crimes. Now, these kind of souls, even if they are ready or if they are accepting their death, they are not sent to the spiritual world directly because of the negativity that they carry. So, first, they are remodeled or they are trained so that they can reduce that negativity. This is also done in the earth plane itself. And once they have shed that negativity, only then they are sent to the spiritual world. So that is in chapter 4. So chapter 5 is known as orientation. And after the soul has had its first interaction in the spiritual world, after a little bit of acclimatization, they are re-energized through light beams, or you can say they are cleaned of the wounds of physical world in the past life. And once that happens, the spirit guides can give you a little pep talk before taking you to the council members. So there is a council that has been described, although there has been no information described in the book about what actually happens in the council meeting. Michael Newton did try to extract that information, but due to some reasons, that information has been blocked and you won't find any description of the council meeting. There are two council meetings which happen. One just after the death, which is first one happens during orientation and the last happens just before rebirth. We'll talk about the second council meeting in later chapters. But talking about this first council meeting, it is more or less like a review meet and to understand what kind of life decisions you took, how your life was, what things have you learned. There is no punishments. The environment in the spiritual world is very encouraging, very blissful. Everybody is there to take care of you. You are there to understand your mistakes, what are the learnings that you have made. So there is this mention of a particular subject who did suicide in one of his past lives, and the spirit guide was really not happy with that particular action of his, because his thought was that by suicide you are just delaying your learning process, because whatever events that were to happen eventually you will have to face, the karmic lessons, action and karma will happen eventually. So you just wasted your time on earth by committing a suicide. And even in our religious books, suicide is not considered a good thing. So that thought has been discouraged. There's another thought or discussion which happens between the spirit guide and the subject, and they talk about why we do not have any past life memories during our physical life on earth. So the discussion is, and the subject says that this is an agreement between the spirit guide and the soul just to start fresh so that they can have maximum learnings. They agree to forget. It isn't that the memories are lost, the soul has that information in them. There are three levels of consciousness which has been discussed in this book. The first one is known as the normal consciousness that we see in our physical lives. The second one is known as subconsciousness, which is basically the information center where all the past life experiences are stored. And the third one is known as super consciousness, which is the level of soul, and the soul knows everything. So that has been mentioned. But at the same time, there is this discussion that even though we agree to forget everything, there can be flashes during dreams, and it can happen that during dreams you go through certain life or events that you must have not encountered. You go to some places where you have never been, but you see it in your dream. So that can be from your past life. And even Michael Newton mentions a note of past life regressions that he did with his subjects. There is no discussion of any past life regression experience, but yes, he did leave a note in that. So that is about orientation. And orientation can be considered as the very first step of review and analysis that the souls are going to do of their past life.